This is episode 693, and I'm Greg Swanson. Today we're going to be talking about 10 powerful growth mindset exercises. I mean, we all love to exercise, right? Physically, so let's do some mental ones here today. So first, let's begin. What is growth mindset? Because we want to talk about the growth mindset and the opposite, which will be a fixed mindset. Maybe some of you have read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, but in case you haven't, let's just go into it really quick. So think of a growth mindset as a belief system or a framework that determines how you approach learning, challenges, and feedback. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication, hard work, and persistence. So people with this type of mindset views challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than obstacles to success. On the flip side, there's the fixed mindset, which is everything we just previously discussed, the opposite. So fixed mindset individuals believe that their talents and abilities are set in stone. That's it. No more. They've peaked. They can't learn anything new. They live by the expression, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So this often leads to avoiding challenges and feeling threatened by the success of others. I mean, imagine if you thought you're only capable of a certain amount and somebody presented you with a challenge that was beyond that. A fixed mindset might go, you know what, I'm just not in the mood, or that's not my cup of tea. They would find myriad of reasons not to do it. Or even they would find themselves threatened if somebody else stood up and said, yeah, I'll take on that challenge. A fixed mindset individual may find themselves threatened by those other individuals. So ask yourself, which mindset do you prefer to have? Now, hopefully, most of you are on the growth mindset, but if you're on the fixed mindset, that's fine. Listening to this podcast, reading my blog posts can help with shifting that. And the shift can be little by little, right? Inch by inch, anything's a cinch. So if you're here, the answer to that question is obvious, right? What do you prefer? Growth mindset. So even if you're still listening at this point, most likely, it's safe to say that you would prefer a growth mindset. So the beauty of growth mindset exercises is that they work like a daily workout routine for your brain. Hopefully, if you're listening to this podcast, you have some sort of movement practice, whether it's yoga, running, the gym, some sort of a daily workout that you do. And this is growth mindset exercises can accompany those. By practicing these regularly, you're going to be rewiring your brain to handle setbacks with grace and resilience, and to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. You become not only more flexible mentally, but also unstoppable mentally in your pursuit of success. So you ready to jump in? Let's do it. So the first exercise you can practice is reframing negative thoughts. This isn't just simply saying, oh, my toe hurts. No, my toe doesn't hurt. It's acknowledging, so if your toe hurts, does your foot, the other foot, feel good, right? So you start to reframe it. It's not that it hurts, it's hurting for a while. There's an expression that I can't do it, and then we want to do I can't do it yet. So putting the yet after a few other things is reframing a negative thought. And so we want to take our thoughts and reframe them so that we can have a better output, because the negative thoughts put our attention on all the things that aren't working. And when we can reframe them, we will see the things that are working. And again, a big one, especially if it's a negative self-talk about your capabilities. I'm not a good mom. I'm not this. Well, I'm improving every day to be a good mom. I don't know this. I don't know this yet. I can't lift this. I can't lift this yet. And so we just want to have these subtle changes in reframing negative thoughts. And I tell you, a lot of my coaching calls are around reframing negative statements and thoughts with my clients. So set learning goals, not outcomes. If you think about it, an outcome, we want to have goals to motivate us to take action. But the goal is actually a lagging indicator of what preceded it, and that would be your actions, or you could say your learnings. So as you start taking actions towards a goal, if you just look at the goal and not the actions, you're not going to learn anything. But when we can focus on the actions or the techniques and the learning, that also can help us. So instead of, let's say you did achieve a goal that you set. Okay, great, I achieved it. Well, what did you learn instead? What did you learn about that? Well, I learned that I overestimated how much I'm going to get done. I learned that I underestimated how long things are going to take. I learned that I really need help to get this through. So even if you have an outcome goal and you achieve it, we want to look at what did you learn in the process, and that will help with your growth mindset as well. Also, we want to practice self-compassion during, quote, failures, unquote. I love what NLP says. There are no failures, only feedback. And so if we look at feedback, we can be a little bit more compassionate with ourselves. If we look at our outcomes as failures, we can go, I'm a failure, it didn't work, I don't know how to do it. But then we go back to reframing our negative thoughts. But that compassion is the feedback that I got from this action told me that this wasn't the appropriate action. So when we review it as there's no failures, just feedback, we can then be self-compassion. And then the other term that goes along with this is correct and continue, right? So when we are taking action and we get to a point where the result isn't what we want, we get feedback that it didn't work, we can then say, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust it? And then correct and continue. Embrace challenges outside your comfort zone. We've all heard about the comfort zone, but a lot of times we just don't like to step out of it. We think we do, but all we're doing is replaying those activities we did, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months ago. And we think because it's new, it's out of our comfort zone. But if we've done it once, it's in our comfort zone. So don't fool yourself by going, well, I climbed a 14er last year, so I'm going to do it again this year and stretch myself. Well, no, you already did it. So you know how to do it. There are other things that come into play, but there's a book out called Do Hard Things, and it talks about doing something difficult every day. And you know what's difficult for many, 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 many people, my clients, is saying no. Saying no if you're asked to do a special task. Saying no that it's putting you out to drive somebody to the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning, unless you want to, right? But this comfort zone is so much of appeasing others to the sacrifice of ourselves that sometimes saying no could be the biggest challenge you ever have. But putting that aside, we want to do some things. We want to go in and ask our boss for a raise. We want to put together a presentation. We want to do public speaking. We want to ask that person out for a date. Whatever it is, we want to step outside our comfort zone. The key here is being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So here again, this celebrate effort, not just results, goes back to exercise 2, set learning goals, not just outcome goals. So we want to look at the effort we put into it. I have a lot of clients who have a goal. Let's say they wanted to do 5 of X amount of things. And they said, well, I only got to 4, so I didn't hit my goal. But they forget to look at how is it they got to 4 of these. Let's look at the effort. Let's look at the skills. Let's look at the dedication you did to get those 4 and then focus on that the next time. So we want to continually focus on what we got as opposed to what we didn't, and then look at the effort that got us there. So example, right? I'm sure when you were a kid, you come home, if you had like an A, a B, and an F on your report card, your parents said, why'd you get the F? You didn't get acknowledged for the A. Well, growth mindset would say, hey, nice job on the A. What did you do to get that A? What was the effort you put into it? How can you put that same effort into the subject of the F? And so we take the A and look at the effort and then use that for one of the lower grades. So we want to learn from criticism and feedback. Criticism is a tough word to hear because we often take it personal. And actually people generally are not that clear on their feedback. They usually say, you didn't do this, you did that, or when you do this, it upsets. So they make it very personal. And if we can focus out the word or remove the word you and just look at the behavior, then we can take a look at that and use that feedback to improve ourselves. So part of the growth mindset is to understand that when somebody says you, they don't mean you personally as the person. They're most likely talking about a behavior. And even in pro sports, right, a wide receiver drops the ball over and over again. He's not a bad person, but the behavior of dropping it is bad. And so maybe if that is brought to his attention, if he doesn't know it, he can then find ways to improve it by counting the spirals in the ball, whatever it might be, right? But we want to learn from those and not take it like it's derogatory towards us. So visualize growth through continuous learning. So learning, whether we read, whether we hear something or participate in something physically, we want to be able to visualize our growth through that learning. So we read a book, we visualize how that book will help us today, tomorrow, the next day, and we start to see the growth that comes. We want to be able to visualize the growth through that continual learning. If great example is Think and Grow Rich, one of the best well-known personal development books of all time. Well, a lot of clients come to me and they say, yeah, I've read it. I said, did you do the exercises in there? Well, no, I didn't. So that was just entertainment, which there's nothing wrong with. But if we want to have growth, we want to look at the examples in the book, visualize ourselves doing it, and then doing that what we saw in our mind's eye. So this way we can use continuous learning to enhance our growth. You also want to surround yourself with a growth-oriented community. This can be challenging at times because we're not all fixed mindset and we're not all growth mindset. Some of us have different parts of our life that are fixed. Some of us have different parts of our life that are growth. So if you have an area of your life, let's say health and fitness, and you've been beating yourself up and you have a fixed mindset, I'll never be able to lose weight, I'm big boned, I can't do this. You want to put yourself around fitness, health-minded individuals that have a growth mindset, meaning you haven't lost the weight yet. Those type of things. Because it's challenging to find a 100% growth mindset individual. They're out there. They're there. And many coaches have a growth mindset. That's why it's great to put yourself in contact with a coach like myself or somebody else. But you really want to surround yourself, birds of a feather flock together. So we really want to surround ourselves with a growth-oriented community. Keep a growth mindset journal. You can write down things that, what did I do today that was hard? How did I learn? What did I do? What was my feedback? There's a lot of ways you can have fun with the journal. And then you can even start the journal with a sense of gratitude for all of the things you experimented with today. So here's an experiment. I went out to do this. Here was the result. Here's what I learned. Here's what I'll do next time. If we look at doing experiments instead of purposely stepping out of our comfort zone, we might be able to have a little bit more fun. That would be reframing perhaps a negative thought. If you think stepping out of your comfort zone is hard, ugly, and nasty, then maybe look at it, reframe and say, you know what, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do an experiment today and see how that grows. And then just journal down your experience and write about it and reflect on it. And then engage in mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness is being here now. Meditation is just basically observing your thoughts and letting them fly by. Both of these let you help control your mind, control your thinking, and focus it on the things that will help you with a growth mindset. So there you have it. 10 powerful mindset exercises that can transform your thinking immediately. Remember, this journey isn't about perfection. It is about progress. With each exercise, each challenge, and each moment of reflection, you're growing into the best version of yourself. Pick one of these growth mindset exercises today and commit to doing it in a practice daily. So perhaps it's reframing negative thoughts. Say for the next 7 days, I'm going to practice reframing negative thoughts. Then you add to it or you switch to another one. So if you switch to another one, you'd have 10 weeks of exercises. Then after the end of 10 weeks, you could combine them all together. As you do, you will watch your mindset and your attitude and your life transform in ways you never thought possible. If you want to see the show notes on this podcast, you can visit warriormindcoach.com. While you're there, you can find some more useful information in the forms of other podcasts and blog posts, and also how to request a breakthrough session. Since you'll be on the internet, please follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.